Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, I have got the Evo 10 out today, and since getting it back from AK Racing where it got a bunch of maintenance stuff done and a retune, which you would have seen in my last video, I've just been absolutely loving this thing. So right before I dropped it off, there was actually a couple of small updates done to the interior. I did film one of them, which was all the white interior lights and stuff. But one other thing I haven't showed you, which was in the video where I picked it up from AK and everything, is a new digital gauge that I've picked up, Canchecked gauge. So I figured I'll show you that and just sort of show you something else that I did in the interior as well. So it's all kind of coming together, the interior at the moment. So that's what this video is basically going to be about. As you know, I'm pretty happy with the exterior of the car. Don't mind how filthy it is, although it may not show that on camera. But since getting it back, I've given it one wash and I've driven it a bunch, done a bunch of night runs and everything, so the car's very dusty. But yeah, let's jump in. So you've seen the exterior. I mean, I guess I'll give you a quick look at the back. So yeah, very happy with the exterior of the car. So let's jump in. I'll show you guys the interior here. So what's changed is the new Canchecked gauge there. Now have a color LCD center cluster and no longer have a Powertune digital dash. And I've done a remount of the boost and AFR gauge. Other than that, yeah, we did the white lighting, stuff that we've done over time, carbon fiber steering wheel, the Android head unit, the Alcantara handbrake and shifter with the OEM leather and aluminium Evolution shifter and handbrake themselves, OEM carbon fiber AC surround, aluminium SST footrest. We've got some final edition style door cards with the soft touch leather at the top, the leather around the sides here with stitching, and I guess lastly the full black interior, which is also comes out of a final edition Evo as well. Only thing really left to do, I think, is to change these seats out for some leather, probably get retrimmed. But I'm going to jump in the car. I'll sort of give you a quick overview of like the interior so far, I guess. And it's getting into its final stages. So yeah, we've done all that. It's really brought the interior to sort of the next level, I think. Like, it's really improved from when I first bought the car, when it had no screen here at all. It just had a CD player. So it didn't even have Bluetooth music. I used to actually drive around with a Bluetooth speaker in my cup holders down here. Yeah, that's a long time ago, before I even had a head unit, because it had Bluetooth phone calls, but not actually music, which is crazy. And I bought the car stock, so I didn't have an exhaust and an intake or anything to listen to. Now, with the setup I've got on the car, I don't really listen to music, but it's pretty funny how little things like that, the car has come a long way. But yeah, let's start off over here. So there's my Powertune digital dash. If you guys have been watching the channel for a couple of years, you would have seen it. I've actually still got it wired up. So I could pop this back on in a couple of minutes and just sort of plug it back in. The wires for the dash are still actually down behind, because I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to not go back to having it. But yeah, it was obviously mounted just on top of the steering column here, and it never quite sat right. You didn't get fuel levels and all that stuff, so I had to like basically peek underneath. I could just see under to see the fuel level, or someone from the passenger seat could basically tell me if I had any check engine lights or fuel levels. But the plan was to flush mount it. So as you can probably see, we have this flush mount here. Wow, really not doing well one-handed. So here is the digital dash and the cluster surround that I got made up to basically run this. So you can see this little spot here where my fingers are poking through. That was actually for the center LCD cluster. So I was going to have that. Someone in America who I saw had already done a similar, just not flush mounted like this, but using a cluster, and they've extended it and they've made it all sort of fit. And I was like, that's cool. So I had a chat to them. They showed me how they did it. I started getting parts. We got this custom cluster surround made up. So this would actually sit like right in there where that is. Then obviously then the top piece here would go over it, which I guess I have here that I could show you. So, you know, you'd be looking at a full factory looking setup with a digital dash. So that's why I've still kept the wires there, because I do really like the idea of getting that. The only problem was the Powertune digital dash itself is pretty limited. I couldn't get much working. So I did try and film this video before I dropped the car off. It was very rushed. I wasn't happy with how it came out. But I sort of was comparing to the Canchecked gauge, which I'm not making this video all about that, but I sort of want to explain the changes to the interior as well. So I guess I should turn the ignition. I'll show you guys how quick this boots up. So there you go, instantly. Head unit hasn't even got close. It's already going. So matching with now the color cluster, I actually really like the look of it. And it is instant on and instant off. So yeah, that's how it is now. Quickly try and run through what I've changed as well, which was getting rid of this dash surround with the gauges built in, because after 5 years of running it, it wasn't really built the best, if I'm honest. So these are the pods that were attached to it. And if you just look how big they are, so they stuck out, only needed a tiny little gauge pod and it would have been great. Because they stuck out so far, you actually couldn't put the steering wheel up and down, so you're kind of locked of where it was. And then say you have someone else drive the car, or it's at a mechanic or something, and they're going to go to put the steering wheel up, and they will just boom and knock this. And just over time, it started to crack, get worse and worse and worse. Ended up fully breaking, and it was just basically hanging on. So yeah, you can see where it was molded on. Plus, this didn't come painted. Had to actually paint it, and over years as well, the paint was starting to bubble. And it wasn't the exact same color as the factory one. So I was trying to find out what sort of gauge pod solution I could get. And in just getting that off to just get rid of the Powertune dash, I ended up sort of pulling the cords for the gauges tight, because this is kind of where they used to sit, pulling them back through the dash pretty tight and sort of resting them here, and realized, hey, these kind of actually sit pretty well. So they're actually just sitting there. Just today, I've tested them out with no tape, but just today I put a little bit of double-sided tape there, just where it touches against the dash, just to sort of hold it, stop it from rattling and moving. And they're solid. And that's like the perfect spot for gauges. They're not up on the steering column here, blocking the view like I see some setups. They're not in these oversized gauge pods, stopping me from putting the steering wheel up and down. And they're not in the way at all. Like, sitting position, it's not blocking any gauge at all. Not a single bit. You can see them clear as day. So yeah, that's another little, that's just like a lucky thing. Like, while I was sort of researching what gauge pod solution I was going to get, I just sort of did that temporarily. I'm like, you know what, I'm actually keeping that. That's like perfect. Don't mind the routine maintenance thing. I just got to reset that. So yeah, that's where we're at with all that. Now let's get on to the Canchecked gauge. So it's probably going to be quite hard to see because of the reflection. This really would be best filmed at night, this video. But as you can see, we have a bunch of data. Engines are actually running. The only thing I haven't got working is boost. I think it will though. It just needs to be changed. I think it's in bar at the moment instead of PSI, but we do have the boost gauge there. So I haven't really been too worried about it. I just need to plug the laptop into it. So this is wired in down into the OBD2 and then powered through, running through into the dash here. I actually bought this off my mate Ash. He ran it for a few years, or a year at least. He's now making a custom digital dash setup. So maybe we'll show you that when he does it. Maybe I'll get one of those in the future. But he had this already set up. So these screens that he's got set up are already what he was basically running. So probably best if I start the car, because when I tried to film this video previously, I did have the digital dash still in the car, and I was comparing like revving, because when you use, say, Torque Pro on the Android head units or something, the RPM and everything is so slow and delayed, you couldn't trust it. Whereas this, if you kind of, like I did, I wonder if I can hold this in a way where you can kind of see both. It actually has, let me go to a different screen. So I will go through and show you guys all the screens in a sec. maybe this one. So yeah, you can see the actual RPM numbers. Look how like quickly that is moving. It is instantaneous. I actually did hold my camera back so I could film the digital dash and this at the same time, and revved it and was pausing at certain points, and it was always spot on, which is crazy because it's just running through OBD2. If only Powertune Digital, who make this setup, would tap into the OBD2 as well as into the ECU, because this is actually running through the ECU. That's where it's getting its info, but so much of the info you get in the Evo 10 comes from the OBD2. All the temperatures, all that stuff. But so with this setup, all it actually showed me was RPM, speed. Speed was like a wheel speed sensor. It wasn't that accurate. It did have GPS, but I found that wasn't really that trustworthy. So, but it was close enough, but it wasn't like spot on compared to like a GPS speed, even through like a head unit or your phone or something. But yeah, speed, RPM. It got the SST temp, which you can see this actually also has down the bottom there. You can see trans temp, 65 degrees. It's got also intake temp over here and coolant temp. So on the dash, I was getting coolant temp, I was getting the trans temp, but it was always reading exactly 10 degrees higher, which I never had a problem with. It was probably a way I could minimize by a -10 or something in there, but it was accurate. I compared it against Evo Scan, I compared it against Torque Pro head unit, even compared it against this once I had this set up, and it was always exactly 10 degrees above all those other three. Just that this is accurate to the right degree. So whenever it said, say, 75 on the dash, I knew I was really at 65 SST temp. But that's all it had. It had indicators that you could set up. It had high beam headlights, but not low beam. And that's it. I couldn't get anything else to work. So you could then do what I did and buy a CAN extender, tap it into your AFR wiring for your gauge, tap it into your boost gauge. But that means you had to have those gauges in the first place. To buy one of these and then do that, you're looking at buying gauges, looking at having someone buy the CAN extender, and then having someone sort of, unless you're really good with electronics, which I am definitely not, tap into those wires, run a channel into the dash and all this stuff. You couldn't get fuel level to be accurate. And that's why I was going to actually get one of these little LCD clusters from the middle and sit it here. It would have been a pretty cool setup because it would have had the fuel, would have had the gears, because the gears in this, while I had them, actually I should say, the gears also you could kind of get working. They were never quite right, so sometimes you think you're in a gear when you're at the track and you're not, and then you go to boot it and you realize, oh, I was in third, not second. Just for that second you didn't realize you didn't get into the right gear. So yeah, that's why we basically got rid of it, because this already, with no, just plug and played in using Ash's previous setups, we already have more, because we already have intake temp. We have a bunch more as well. Got knock, got throttle. It does have AFR that I could tap into this gauge as well. Not even tap into it, just plug in. But yeah, that's something that needs to be worked out in the future. We've got all the transmission stuff. So we've got clutch temperatures, odd and even. We've got slip. And we've got the trans temp. This one surprisingly actually has it says we're in neutral, we're in park, but otherwise, you're in reverse, you're in reverse. Down neutral first, and obviously I can't go into second while I'm sitting here. But it is instantaneous. It's like, I don't know if you can, you probably can't. I really should have done this at night, but yeah, now I can't even change the gears. If I was to now knock it back into drive, it'll say 1 instantly. Up into neutral, neutral. So testing it out, it is spot on. Not that I need the gears to be there, but I just like that screen. It also flashes when you hit red line. But over here we've got intake temp, trans temp, water temp, ignition angle, but they're all customizable. You can plug in your laptop and make it read whatever you want. So here's the 2 boost things that I've got. I just need to get it working. Bunch of other things that it's reading. So yeah, already, and there's our boost one that I'll probably use because we still got coolant, intake, trans temperature, and then boost, but it is just not working from what I've, yeah, I think it's reading something wrong, but yeah, I can be changed that. So yeah, that's where we're at. It's quite a nice interior to be in now, I gotta say. at night, driving with all this, it is super nice. All the white lights. I should like turn my lights on. So like, yeah, if you guys haven't seen, I've got these now with white lights on the shifter. Down here for like the intercooler spray and the AWC, steering wheel lights, ASC and everything. So these are all now white. Obviously the factory cluster is white. And I will give a shout out as well. This was also done by Ash, this factory cluster. I don't know if he's doing them anymore, but he can get any Evo or Rally Art, I guess, to... It's mainly the Evos because you get Rally Art ones easy, but then you're stuck with the red line being at, I think, 6 and the Speedo stopping at, I think, 270 maybe, but it just puts everything different, the clusters and everything. Whereas if you want an Evo one to breed 7,000 RPM red line and 300 top speed, it's harder to get. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Why don't I just take this for a really quick little drive and show you guys going through the gears. But as you can see, I've been running it for a bit now since right before the car got dropped off to AK. So we'll go back into the gear one. And we'll just do a little cruise around. It even actually says Super Sport. I'm not sure if you noticed that. I'll quickly actually stop and I'll show you that real quick. Going through the different modes. The transmission, Sport, Normal. So that's super cool as well. Not that you need it because you do have it here, but if I still had the digital dash, that would have been very handy to see because there was no way of seeing that before. But yeah, I don't know, just put it into Sport and in auto mode just so I can let it sort of change gears itself and hold that there so you can see. Just go up the street here, hopefully it gets into 3rd and 4th for you at least. So yeah, there we go, super cool. Don't really drive the car in auto mode very much, this is kind of weird. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So I did a video on the Powertune dash when I first got it years ago, and I said that everything that EvoScan has will be soon working in the Powertune dash. That's what I was told. That's why I bought it. And then I spent more money once I found out that wasn't going to be the case to try and get everything to work. And then I couldn't get someone to actually do that work for me. Getting the can extender and tapped into the gauges, tapped into your fuel tank so you can get fuel reading, and then all this other stuff. It was going to cost me more money, and it was also then going to have to get me one of these center screens, cut it up to try and then mount it off to the side there in this little hole, wire that up. It was going to cost me a lot more still. It would have been a cool setup. I still can do it, but for now I think this is super clean, OEM plus, and yeah, at least the interior now doesn't have a dash just sitting right there looking kind of ugly. It looks a lot more cleaner now. So yeah, I'm really happy with the interior now. With some leather seats, I think this interior will be done. Like the white lighting, the white footwell lighting at night now, this car is just so nice to drive. I'm really been enjoying it. So yeah, that is where we're at. Had someone comment, ask if I was going to make a video on it. I was definitely planning on it. I already did film one, like I said. I just wasn't happy with it. You couldn't really see what I was showing. I was trying to mostly compare it to the digital dash. So, but yeah, that's what I was getting with it. I've had people since I did that video on the digital dash asking me, do I still recommend it? And I kept saying, oh, soon I'm going to do a final update. My final update was going to be this all finished. Instead, now I've just ripped the whole thing out. I've been telling people I don't recommend it for the Evo 10. Very jealous of aftermarket ECU cars, earlier cars with certain factory ECUs, or even like other later model stuff. They can just put that dash straight in, buy a flush mount kit, everything works. It's customizable. It's super cool that you can create your own dash layouts. Like, it is a really cool dash. For the Evo 10 though, I don't think they should be advertising it as plug and play ready to go, because it just doesn't show any readings, and it's very hard to get more. And they do not want to do any more support for the Evo 10 because they said it's down to the Evo 10's ECU. I think if they were to add OBD2 support, so you could have wired in 2 ways, that thing would be ultimate. You could get all your temps, you could get a lot more, you get everything this is getting, you could get boost, everything. But yeah, it's not going to happen. So I just sort of gave up on it after a few years, and I've gone with this setup. So yeah, probably a very long video. Just wanted to give you guys an update on the interior project in the Evo 10 here. Super happy with it. Show you guys the Canchecked gauge. And yeah, next up, I think we are going to be doing some more driving videos. I've got a couple more mods planned on the car, and I think we're sort of like winding down to where I'm happy with it. I kind of want to maybe change a few more little things, get some leather interior like I said, but it's so close to being like my dream Evo 10, even though it's just a stock engine, not crazy fast, but just usable, comfortable, reliable, and it looks great. So yeah, I'll end it there. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any comments. I'll put a link to where you can get this in Australia, but they are available for like basically a lot of different cars, and a lot of different shops sell them. And yeah, let me know what you think of the interior down in the comments. But with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video.